Reawaken to your immortal identity and discover life between life's wisdom. Presented by the Michael Newton Institute.
Ricardo is an engineer by profession. During his spiritual awakening process, he became certified in hypnotherapy and past life regression by the Past Life Regression Academy in London, in England. Then, in the same school, he was certified in spiritual regression, and then he went on to train and certify with the Michael Newton Institute as a life between lives regression therapist. Later, Ricardo obtained his certification as a certified instructor in hypnotherapy and regression, and he is now giving his training in Spanish for the Spanish-speaking people in the world. He is also in the process to become an instructor of Life Between Lives hypnotherapy in Spanish in Michael Newton Institute. Ricardo is sure that he is fulfilling his soul's purpose, helping others with these therapies to improve their life situations, to awaken spiritually, and to find their life purposes. Hi folks, welcome back to our next episode of My Story. I love hosting this. It enables me, on behalf of this beautiful Michael Newton Institute family, to meet other members of the family who are in various parts of this gorgeous world that we are a part of. So as you know, I'm in sunny Dubai, right in the midst of the summer, and our guest today is a very dear friend in another part of the world, Ricardo. Ricardo, a very warm welcome to My Story.
Welcome, everybody, and thank you very much for this opportunity, Andrani.
Genuinely and totally my pleasure, Ricardo. Ricardo, I'd love to know, you've been with our institute for how long? What brought you to MNI? Tell me about it. I'm very curious to know.
Yes, of course. I like this story. I know Michael Newton books not too much ago, maybe 8 or 9 years ago. That's my first contact with Michael Newton works. But before that, I was starting to, or I was totally in the middle of awakening, I think, because my previous profession was, I am an engineer by career, and I work in technology, in computer technology all my life, since I have 22, 23 years, until exactly 4 years ago, I stopped doing it. So I am an engineer totally. And as you know, the engineers, we have like a rational mind, very analytical mind, only the things that you can touch, you can believe, and all that kind of stuff that we create in our mind, because it's only a belief, but it works. we believe that. So I was doing my normal job for many years, happy. I like what I did in that time. And at the same time, I grew my family. I have 4 boys. So I was totally immersed in this different life than I had before, that I have now. And eventually, one time I get a book that talk about reincarnation. In Mexico and in Latin America in general, we have the main religion is the Catholic. My fathers and most all people in Mexico born in a Catholic tradition, and I grew in that. I also went to a religious school, which is normal in this kind of places. And the Catholic religion particularly doesn't believe or doesn't accept the reincarnation. So when I read that, I really like it. It was a resonance in me, because I say this, I believe more this than the normal way that the religion has been trying to teach me or to form me. So I started reading a little bit more about that. That was a very interesting thing for me. And I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 years after that initial contact with the reincarnation, I was going through a lot of changes in my mind. I really was start awakening with, and many things start happening, signals in my life that I start recognizing my intuition. I use it a lot for my job, but not for other things. So it was a time that I really start, or like I start using more my intuition in different things. I work a lot on my emotions. I looked a lot in my behavior. A lot of things start changing. And in one of those moments, I was in vacations. I was to go back to a vacation with all my boys. Big boys at that time, maybe the oldest at that time maybe have 30 years, no? And the youngest 21, 22, so really men's. And was not common that we were to vacation all together. On that occasion, we could do it. And when we were in the airport, my wife said, "Please come to me. I want to buy a book here in the airport." I say, "Okay, I go." Because I don't, at that time, I didn't read books in the book. I used to read it in my telephone or in some PDF format. We went to the store and we were walking, and eventually I see separated from for all others, Michael Newton book. Totally amazing, because as I say, in Mexico, this theme is not important. It's not important. It's not even accepted. But the book was totally there. I see the name, Journey of the Souls, and because the souls, I took it, I read the back, and immediately I say, I'm going to read this. I take it with me. And it was the first time that I start reading Michael Newton. In the plane, I start reading it. In the book, I don't know if that same day or maybe the next day in my vacation was totally captured me, the name. Even I remember exactly when I read the first paragraph, when a testimony of a person in one of the cases that say, "I am not dead."
Yeah.
And that was, wow, was like so 2 days later or 3 days later during the vacations, I invite all my family to a small terrace that we have in the hotel room, and I say, I know what I'm going to do the rest of my life. And all my boys said, so what's happening with his guy? Because I have my job, I have a good life. Say, I'm going to do this kind of therapist. I explain more. We at that time we having some talks about reincarnation. They understand that, but doesn't believe a lot. They really was not important for them at that time. So when I started saying I'm going to do this with more detail, I remember all 4 of them start saying, "What happened with my father? Maybe he's crazy. Something is happening." I talk with them, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes. Then they leave, and I was there only with my wife, and my wife said, "You are talking seriously, is it?" Because she knows me, and say, "Totally." He says, "But how this happened?" He said, "I don't know how this happened, but this book has really touched something inside me that," because my decision was not to have a LBL session. I don't know, for some reason, I need to do that job, that facilitate these kind of sessions to other people to start helping him or helping them. So what's a moment, but the interesting thing is I really start, what did I have to do this? And it was not an easy job, because in Mexico we don't have even trainings for hypnotherapy. That there was not easy. But in any moment, I think I am not going to have the opportunity to do this. It's impossible. I start finding the ways, and the doors start opening, the signals start coming, or continue to be coming. And 7 years later, I am totally dedicated to that job. 3 years ago, almost 4, I retired from the engineering. I am doing this only, and I can tell you, it's maybe, I don't know if this is the best moment of my life, because with my children, so I have a lot of good moments, but I totally sure that this is the most passionate time of my life. This is the most emotional time. This is the most, when I am fulfillment about what I'm doing. And I am not a young guy, and I feel like a young guy, a lot of projects, a lot of things in my mind, and regarding this, and I'm really, really happy to have had that book in my mind, in my hands. I know eventually other signals were, if I don't take that book, something is going to happen, because it's totally sure that I have to be here at this moment with you, doing what I'm doing. But I took that opportunity, and really I enjoy every day of my life. So that's my contact with Michael Newton Institute. Then
But you know,
when
I
I was
remember one thing, Ricardo, when you were talking, when you said the book literally stood out, it was there for you. And that is the fact that when signs come and signal comes, when the writings are there on the wall, if we don't get the little hints, it would have come again and again till you got it. It was meant for you. There is really no coincidence. As you said, we were meant to come to this point where you and I today are having this discussion and dialogue. And
totally agree.
I think the fact that we all have a certain purpose which binds us, a certain mission which binds us, the fact that we collectively have a vision that brings us to where we are right now, and you know, being part of the MNI family, I think we both know that there's a certain change, a certain shift of consciousness that the entire world is going through, especially, I think, post-pandemic. We've all faced it, felt it, acknowledged it. And I think in many ways, all of us have gone through very intrinsic shifts. Yeah. And if I were to ask you that, you know, you're going through a shift yourself, or you've experienced the shift yourself, and the fact that you woke up to maybe a calling, if I may say so, or your own mission as who you are, as a, you know, in all these years of your life, you were in a very, very structured, processed, a clear 3-dimensional world. And then you opened yourself to a world where it's beyond limitations, beyond profiles, beyond definition, and it's perpetually evolving. And I think that is what it's so exciting, and that's where there's this whole youthful vibration that's constantly flowing. I mean, I feel it in so many of all of us who, you know, crossed the half-century mark, and we're moving into the, you know, the next few decades. On behalf of MNI family, I want to say a huge thank you, because Latin America benefits, the Spanish-speaking world benefits, and I'm deeply grateful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and also I always be grateful with the Institute also. Thank you very much, and thank you for your time.